Good morning. Today's lesson is going to bring together everything we've learned so far about inverses, composition of functions, and then making connections to see what's going on. Now, a large part of the document that you're going to use today on your Inspire inverses, composition, and connections is a self-check document. It's kind of a warm-up to the lesson, and I know that's a little bit weird that we would do that at home, but hopefully you'll understand why. So what you're going to do is go through these next few pages, do some work on separate paper. I'll look at that in class tomorrow, as seeing that you went through this document and watched the video. And again, we're going to use those discoveries in your lesson. So what I would suggest you do, I'm going to just flip through this so you see what's going on. You're going to go 2-1 is a multiple choice, find an inverse, choose. And then again, like if I click this and do a control up arrow, this, on the software it doesn't work. If you choose something and do a control up arrow, it'll show that it's wrong. This is created as a self-check document. So you'll be reviewing inverses, checking that you remember how to do inverses, as well as same on 2-2, just substituting, 2-3, finding an inverse, or 3-1, 3-2, substituting, and so on, doing some composition practice. So it's really a night of practice. But the reason for that is when you get to page 4-4, hopefully you're going to make some connections. You're going to notice that something interesting happened and think about why. And that will lead us into the actual lesson. So take some time, pause the video, go through your Inspire document, answer those questions, self-check them. I'm not going to do them on the video because they are a self-check. And then we'll go through the connections from there. Because pages 4.2 and 4.3 are not self-check documents, I wanted to show you real quickly the answers. If you need to see the work, pause. But for 4.2 you get -6 with both compositions. And now I'll show you more carefully the composition with a variable. Sometimes plugging in variables is harder because it gets a little bit messier. So if I'm composing f of g of x, I plug that entire expression that's g of x into the x part of my f function. Sounds crazy. So it's 3 times the g function, 1/3 x minus 4/3, plus 4. When I distribute that 3 through, I get x minus 4 plus 4, which is just x. Similarly, when I compose in the other order, I take the whole f of x expression, 3x plus 4, and substitute it in to the x part of the g function. So I have 1/3 times all of 3x plus 4 minus 4/3. Again, when we distribute, we get x plus 4/3 minus 4/3, which ends up being x. And hopefully you're seeing a huge connection here. So on page 4.5, we have yet another test for inverses. If f of x and g of x are inverses of each other, then f composed with g of x gives you x back, and g composed with f of x gives you x back. Big deal. So on page 5.1, you can be asked questions like this. F composed with its inverse of x is x. That's absolutely true. It's supposed to be that easy. It's just knowing the rule. Same with this one. Some function composed with its inverse gives you what you plug in back, in this case x. It's supposed to be that easy. Just know your rule. Try not to overthink it, but don't assume it works for everything. It's only true when you're composing inverses. So next we're going to find one more inverse, h of x equals the square root of x plus 1 minus 2, and then check by composition. I go through it step by step on paper. You don't need to watch it if you think you understand it, especially finding the inverse part. So you may very well want to pause the video, find the inverse of h of x, and then pick up where I start doing the composition with variables so that you can keep practicing that, because that tends to be the toughest part.